guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Good Human podcast. Today we're back with more quick bites, which is some of your questions that you want us to answer. So we've got 3 today, they cover different topics, and we're just going to jump straight in. Okay. First quick bite: is porridge a good breakfast?
It can be.
You said exactly what I was going to say.
It can be. So it depends what the rest of your diet looks like, for sure, but then that applies to absolutely everything you eat. Is steak good? Well, it depends what else you're eating. So are oats good? They're not bad.
Yes.
So do they have the nutritional density of eggs and asparagus? No. But are they nice and quick and a bit of a no-brainer first thing in the morning? Yeah. And they have no real massive negative points other than maybe just watch how much bigger your portion gets over time.
It does, just ekes up a little bit. Yeah.
I actually, top tip, I use a little mug, small mug. When I say mug, it's not like a mug, but really it could be quite easily. It's just, it's a small mug, and that's what I measure my oats into, and then that goes into...
Oh nice, it's consistently the same size.
Because it was happening. It's getting bigger, it's getting bigger.
You do that with the peanut butter, I might put peanut butter on top, but that happens.
And then that serving size, like I would say, like that was like one of the best diet tips, is actually use the serving sizes on everything that you eat. It's like, I'm sure like cereals, like 30 grams or something on cereal, which is like
nothing, by the way.
It's like in the palm of your hand.
It's not worth it.
Like a tiny amount.
No.
Yeah, what do you put on your porridge?
I put peanut butter and banana on my porridge. But I will always have, if say I'm having it for breakfast, I notice a difference if I have porridge versus something like eggs and bacon or potatoes or something. I feel I have more cravings throughout the day if I just have porridge on its own. So like basically just carbs. There's like trace protein, but I know what a lot of people do, and this is like would be my answer, is porridge can be good if you then paired it with something like of protein, like high in protein, or a bit of like fruit in there. So if you put a protein shake into your porridge, it's quite gross, I don't know why people would do that, but it seems to be the popular thing. It's good, but you can also just have the porridge and then like a protein yogurt or eggs. Have 2 eggs.
I love how much more complicated Beth makes that than just putting the protein powder in the oats, because it grosses her out. When 90% of people, guys, for what it's worth, just put the protein powder in your oats.
It ruins it so much for me. I would rather just chug the protein shake than put it in my oats.
I do have a be careful top tip here, because I can't have dairy. I have to have vegan protein, and vegan protein in porridge turns into cement.
Yeah, it really does.
It's not good. Yeah. It's not good. Whereas whey protein mixes in much better with the...
It's more blendable.
Yeah, the other one is overnight oats as well.
Oh yes, and people will put like a skyr yogurt, very high protein.
Yeah.
Use that instead of milk, basically. Yeah, great shout. So it can be a good breakfast. It can be a good meal at any time of day, I guess, if you're pairing it with the right things, because essentially it's not super processed, but it's not also unprocessed.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really processed, it's just crushed.
I've never shown that one in porridge.
Nah, it's not really.
It's definitely not coming out of the ground looking like that,
But then, neither does your steak come out of the field looking the way it does.
True. We digress. So it can be, depending on what you pair it with.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. Next one. What are your thoughts on fasting?
That's actually probably a fairly big subject. So, because there's a lot of it depends. Is somebody doing it from a fully informed point of view? Why are they doing it? What type of fasting are they doing? What are they hoping to achieve? Like, there's so many maybes and caveats in there. Like my bottom line is, I think it has it does have an application. But there is so much that is on it depends. Why you're doing it, how you want to do it, like where you think you're going with it, and so on and so forth. So if done well, then fine. Like, what do I even mean by that though? Like, because you could fast for like a whole day or a couple of days or even more, and if you understand fully like what you're doing and why you're doing it and how to come out of the fast, then maybe it could be worth doing. There's certainly, I think, if anybody knows the correct to that, I'll go home and Google this, because I hate getting things like this wrong, but I think it was Socrates wouldn't accept anybody into his school unless they'd done a 40-day fast. Because some really, it's just a slight side subject, but this is fascinating. There's some really interesting effects that can happen to your cognitive function when you fast for a really long period of time. Came across this like when people were in concentration camps and prisoner of war camps, and they were undernourished or fasted for long periods of time, and they developed, this isn't necessarily across the board, but there was reports of people developing like the ability to like learn languages like magic, and develop like mathematical skills that they didn't have before. And so that's fairly well known. That's especially like the Socrates school thing. So, you know, why are you doing it? What do you want to achieve from it? Like, where do you think it's going? Do you know how to do it properly? You know, can you fit it into your life?
What do you think the problems of fasting are? Like the negatives, or why somebody wouldn't do it? Or...
I think most people going into it are probably doing it for weight loss reasons.
Yeah, definitely. Why else would you willingly put yourself through that?
Right, so if you're doing it for weight loss reasons, then like it's not going to have like a long-term benefit to you. You're barking up the wrong tree. You're looking for a quick fix. You're looking for like the magic solution that doesn't exist. The magic solution is do something consistently over a long period of time. Don't do like one weekend fast once. You know, because all you're doing in that case is you're just cutting out calories of that weekend, and then you're probably just going back to normal, and you've probably made those calories back up during the following week anyway.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Is yeah, you could eat the 500 calories, but then the next time you increase your likelihood of just binging. You know, when you starve yourself like that.
Yeah.
But I've also heard partly it's good for your digestive tract, like giving your body like a rest from eating. But again, that just comes back to what you've said. Depends why you're doing it. And for probably, I'm going to assume why they've asked that is for weight loss. Like it would be for most people.
I doubt it was to learn about Socrates' school.
Improve cognitive function. Yeah, so overall, as a weight loss tool,
yeah, like intermittent fasting's maybe a different thing, different subject. It possibly has applications. It's fairly well studied in men, not so well studied. I'd have to double check with women. Well, no, I know it's not so well studied because nothing's as well studied.
I was just going to say that. I'm no surprise.
But I'm not sure there's been any specific female studies on intermittent fasting. And the sort of word on the fitness straight is that women don't do so well with it, or it's not as good for them and doesn't have the same sort of benefits that men might experience from it. But that is not coming from studies. That's coming from you know, sort of word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So if intermittent fasting is done correctly, I hesitated there because it just doesn't get done well.
Yeah, it's so hard to do well.
Yeah, really what most people are doing with it is they're just trying to reduce the amount of time in a day through which they can eat so that they eat less. But you'd be amazed how easy it is to eat 3,000 calories in the space of just a few hours if you felt like you had to.
Mm-hmm.
Like people would do it quite easily, really easily, and maybe mistakenly actually over-consume calories because they think, well, if they only eat for those 4 hours in the day, then you know how much can they really eat? A lot. Trust me, you could eat a lot.
Yeah. Okay, that's our answer. So maybe.
Yeah, depends.
Okay, last one. What advice would you give to someone who hates exercise? I feel so much dread when I think of doing it. I don't understand people who love it.
I'll go.
Yeah, okay. What exercise are you doing? My top, don't do anything that fills you with dread. And I'm going to stick with that because I know there's also that do things that are hard for yourself, because it's good to push your, you know, mental capabilities. But something that really, like, it's ruining your day at the thought of doing it, and I do remember feeling that about certain things, like forms of exercise. But like if you think of exercise as like going to the gym, lifting weights, and then doing like cardio, and it really fills you with that much dread, just find something else. Like honestly, find a sport, find a class. People have a very like narrow view, I think, of what they think exercise is, and it just doesn't have to be that. Like hill walking, classes, sports, teams, there's a million different ways. Just you need to get it out of your head that exercising is like HIIT and cardio and running, because it doesn't have to be.
I think yes, absolutely. I mean, I think that's the number one answer. I think there's also a really common mistake when people start exercising, that they think it needs to be of a certain intensity.
Yes, what a good point.
You know, so they're thinking, go to the gym, oh my god, I can't stand the thought of going to the gym, I'm going to have to work so hard, and it's like it's going to make me feel sick, and like I'm going to feel like, oh, you know, and they've got all these like sort of preconceived ideas about what it has to be. So it's like, I always use the 5K example. Like, over the years of being like in this industry, I've lost count of the number of times that people have came to me and said that they want to run a 5K, and I'm like, great. How far do you walk at the moment?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, there's such a big like setup for failure there. If somebody just goes, right, I'm going to go out on Sunday and I'm going to run 5K, and they've not realised that they do less than 3,000 steps a day, but they want to go and run 5K. 5K's going a long way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it sounds so sort of like obtainable, and it is, but not without a little bit of background behind it. You know, so you'd start off with walk a kilometre, you know, or go out and walk for 10 minutes, or, you know, build over time. And the same goes for in a gym or doing a sport. You know, don't think it has to look a certain way for it to be worth doing.
You're so right. That's like when we PT or we coach, you never give a beginner something ridiculously hard to do, because they're just scarred then for life. Why would they come back, and why would they want to do that?
Let's start with clean and jerk. You know, right?
God. But that's the same principle. It's like not overdoing it to the point where you absolutely hate it.
Yeah.
And it's still so valid coming and not needing, because I think you also, after you've done it for a while, you build up the capacity to be able to push yourself like that, and it not like, you know, scar you forever.
Yeah. Allow yourself time to build your confidence in the thing that you're doing, and allow yourself time to maybe even enjoy the thing that you once feared.
Yes.
Like the fear of expectation that you've put on yourself, the expectation that it has to be, you know, a 5K row or run, or you have to do 10,000, or you've got this gym program that you've downloaded off the internet, and you're like, yeah, I'll do that. Like, just step back a little bit and be reasonable with yourself. How much have you done in the last year?
Mm.
See if it's 0, then don't start at 10.
Yeah.
Like, start at 1. And in those cases, anything is better than nothing. And see when people are like, yeah, it's not even worth doing. No, it is. It is. If your first thing that you manage to do is walk to the end of your driveway and back, that is better than nothing, because it's better than what you were doing before.
Absolutely. Nice. Okay, well, that ends the quick bites.
Cool.
Good questions. Thank you guys so much for asking them. If you've got anything that you want us to cover in another episode, send them our way. And please make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel. It really helps us out. And we shall catch you in the next episode next week. Yeah, same time. See you.
Bye now.